Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo, man. What's on your mind? Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Can't even get a few jokes past you, my man. I've got another haul of found cargo. Mostly sporting goods, tracksuits, and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grodd in the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Il market lately.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man? Hey man, that's serious criminal talk. Are you trying to pull some sort of an entrapment thing on me?
Entrapment is a practice whereby an officer of the law induces a person to commit a criminal offense that the person would have otherwise been unlikely to commit, usually through some trickery, persuasion, or fraud.
Then what's your deal here?
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Gotta guard the stuff. Bosses don't look kindly on missing cargo, and it gives me time to work on my rhymes.
A rhymesmith? This is quite credible. It goes with its cadence and way of speaking. Working on these rhymes clearly leads to muscular atrophy. Make sure you don't get hooked on poetry.
Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Your best verse? You don't even have a bad verse in here. Just tumbleweed and liquor stains. Wait, no. What are you doing?
That's brutal, man. But you know, time will...
No, stop. He's already mortified.
That's,
In the name of God, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. These are your rhymes. They're from your life. Doesn't matter if they're robust, they're honest. So, thanks, man.
He's not lying. He liked the end.
Yes, and I also thank you for stopping. We have a drug investigation to return to. How about we do that?
Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work. The bosses, man. Yeah, it sure ain't good for me. Or you. I'd spare a coin or two for a city cop down in his luck. If I had saved 4 myself.
woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you? Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buenguerro.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen, and schoolboys used to memorize all of his lines.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. and they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this. I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Loman. It was early spring, and the mine behind the Black Sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Methk it was a golden age.
The Republic of Mesk is a massive confederation on the Isola of Muindi, the world's largest state by territory. It's a petrostate, a constitutional monarchy, and, as of recently, an outcast due to its tilt to the far right.
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole. Of course not. To truly understand the Boyadero, you need to listen to On the Western Plain.
The Boyadero, Boya for short, is a cowherder from upstream Magritte, the great steppes of northern Mesk. He is a rugged individualist and explorer.
It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring boyadero. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain. Of course not. The Boyadero returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night, as he and his beloved are out walking along the river Maygrit, she pleads with him to give up his riding and settle down.
In the background, you can hear the orchestra swell as the screen fills with the maiden's imploring eyes.
So the Boyadero strangles his beloved and throws her body in the Magritte. Then he rides off, because the Western Plain is calling to him. You have to understand. A true Boyadero needs a whole horizon to himself. He can't be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a Boyadero.
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
So he doesn't think she's a smuggler.
You hear that, Lowman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in something here. Something unconnected to the case, but connected to this woman tuning out like that.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best camioners around. I drive routes no one else will. Lomonosov's Land, Udajnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain.
A terrible cold comes over her, rattling her teeth as she stares inward.
The Transcatolia Magistral, U4-1A, Adestradas du Mirador, all the good ones, the deep trenches, where the bluebirds fly. You're right, Lowman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously. Thank you for looking out for me.
A correct appraisal. You're quite shabby.
Is that all you woke me up to say? Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean.
She says that as if something narcotic is the real reason.
Oh, it's so much more than a high where I go, Jerife. It's low. I go to the bottom.
Yeah, it's definitely some kick. Some terrible kick in the dark. A sleep kick. Perhaps you can find out later.
Then it's contraband, Lawman. What? Do you want to take an old woman in? Be my guest. Lock me away like Bad Hand Hermenegildo.
Bad Hand, Hermenegildos's bad hand, strangled 300 people. What can I say? Some people just really like strangling people.
What do I need drugs for, Lawman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, no drugs can compare. Yes, there is a protagonista and an adversario. I am on the side of the adversary. There's no coming back from that hole.
Those epithets are familiar somehow. The great adversary, the great unrest. I don't like the sound of any of that. Sounds like a horrible drug. The worst one of them all.
Then what were you getting at?
Maybe if she thought you're corrupt.
Why would I want to do that? Lawman, what in the name of God are you talking about? Maybe. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramirizza to Grat, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramirizza to Grat, Lawman? No, Lawman, diamonds.
Damn this. Make her answer.
diamonds are good for you, Lowman. You should try them sometime. Make yourself pretty like Eva de Zoras. I would never make fun of a real lawman, Sheriff.
Ma'am, you're not responsible for what a client puts in your lorry, as long as the seals are not opened. We officers know that.
Lay offer.
Easy. He's the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. Also, he's the only one I can see from here.
That's correct. There is no visibility of any of the others.
Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the features of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no?
Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Mesquite.
Mazovian Socioeconomics. 0.000% of communism has been built. Evil child-murdering billionaires still rule the world with a shit-eating grin. All he has managed to do is make himself sad. He is starting to suspect Krasmazov fucked him over personally with his socio-economic theory. It has, however, made him into a very smart boy with something like a university degree in truth. Instead of building communism, he now builds a precise model of this grotesque, duplicitous world.
Something wrong? Come to tell me to fuck off again? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Mirizza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage. Not in, not out. I'll never betray the purity of my tribe.
So you're telling us that you don't know anything about drug smuggling through Terminal B?
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
The man pulls on his cigarette furiously, probably still thinking about mosquitoes and ass cancer.
Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. Of course he's a lorry driver. What? He tell you he's just some simple businessman or some shit? He's selling his employer stuff after he broke the seals on his Humanox lorry. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right. 100%.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. Do you know what you should do with that money, kiddo? You should buy more alcohol. Enter. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Sully Soif.
Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs. Sadly, I don't have any drugs on sale, or at my home, or on my person. That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. I'm... Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. Exactly! It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror now. I'm climbing out of that hole with ingenuity. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd! You know, the drug crowd?
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd. There's more here. He's afraid of this crowd, whoever they are, more than he is of the racist lorry man.
Shush, please. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please, don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady. All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now?
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
He's not ruling her out.
All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying to the music, her eyes looking at nothing in particular.
Huh? What is it? What do you want? Did you just call me a lady, Jerife?
The woman's malevolent cackling fills the roundabout.
I'm a lady like you are Gabriel Buenguerro. Only in dreams. I'm only terrifying to small children, and to those who used to know me.
Yeah, it's not her. Believe me.
Because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around, when I have my movies to go to? Oh, Sim.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker, and I don't know where she is. Thank God I don't know. People here call her the Lady Driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance? I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Dyed. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person, I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes, which is why I don't want to snitch on her. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her, more like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now, but we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her.
The pain it was causing her.
Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
Wait, this guy says they're friends, then acquaintances, and he's okay with others ratting her out? Now is not the time to focus on feelings. You need that info, son. It's right here. The answer is right here. You just need to ask him. Come on, do it.
Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt too. I thought you were a different kind of cop. Here. Mallory's still here, down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. I bet you are. She left them to me because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise,
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
no. I don't know. Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
This green found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our men pointed to.
You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just... The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too. Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a pull-out toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarettes. It closed the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks.
Listening in on your calls between you and your station, a worrying prospect.
As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade.
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
Yes, well... We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation. But somehow, I doubt that Everard Clare would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road. We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madre grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the Union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It will be all of them. The decision is already made. Investigation upon investigation here in Martinez, racing towards some dark deadline.
Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single, concrete suspect before they indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, If you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The Debarders have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath. Many bleak scenarios have already come true. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors. Their tribunal. It's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. He was 40, or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes, all the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, man?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
half a minute in silence.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort has a military academy. The Seminoles Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways. Just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere. Challenge accepted. I say we do it.
Do what you have to do, Detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
The lieutenant is desperately searching for another handkerchief. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult. The woman on the boat does not know.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her. On a first-name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world. Pig's not half as dumb as he looks.
There must be another way into the building.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your